The following podcast is a member of the PokeCasters Network. PokeCasters Network, supporting Pokemon content creators, their shows, and the community of Pokemon fans. To find out more, check out PokeCastersNetwork.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook.
You mean you don't want an entire episode of intros that we can just pull from for other rest?
I'm not gonna lie, I think we have that.
I've told Anirudh to do that many times because there are so many recording sessions where we have like 5 different things that could be the intro.
Hello everyone, welcome to Not a Scratch, the only podcast that believes that Scratch is an overpowered move. I am your PM, your DM, your GM, Andrew himself, and with me here closing the cabinet door that just doesn't want to close.
It's me, Mohammed. Listen, sometimes it's just a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of leverage, and a little bit of, extra sugar the night before to really get the pounds up. And over to my right is someone who, whenever they plug their stereo speakers in, swaps to left and right because they think it's a really cool effect.
Oh, well, yeah, that's also... Hi, it's me. It's me, Daisy. Sorry, I forgot. But it's because my left and right ear switches every time, too.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Right now, if you're listening on headphones, I want you to pick them up, flip it around, and then put it back on your head. First off, it'll be weird. Second off, the quality and the type of voice that we give probably isn't changing too much because there's no dynamic involvement here. But do that, and a shout out and like an honor to Daisy. Just flip your headphones around.
I will say it is a shame. We need to start recording these episodes in stereo now.
I'm just gonna talk from like this. This isn't probably making a difference, but if I just talk from this side repeatedly.
Well, no, our audio for this show is all mono audio, so
Yeah,
it's all single. It's all single channel, which is a shame.
But we go in stereo.
All around you.
Guys, welcome to the surround sound episode. Yeah, where we show up 360 degrees. That's right. You feel that tap on your shoulder? That's one of us.
Oh, I thought that was Mansor.
That could also be.
No, he's done with that era. He did it to me and Anirudh once, and then he got bored of it.
Right. Shout out to Mansoor, by the way. Currently preparing for travel. Where to? He's not telling me. But he's traveling. He's preparing. He's packing. He's apparently packing multiple suitcases, so I'm assuming it's either a big trip or a long trip.
I thought it was a fancy mansion.
It could be a fancy mansion. Speaking of fancy mansions, let's talk about the last episode. Anyone want to talk about the last episode?
Anirudh's forcing us to go to a fancy mansion.
That is part of it. That's theoretically other things.
Everything that happened last episode boils down to Anirudh's forcing us to go to the fancy mansion.
Yeah, so by this point,
we were on a boat.
You probably that too. Yes, that too, Daisy. Yeah, by now, you've probably seen the new commissioned art for Arc 6, which, shocker, I commissioned prior to the arc starting. So yes, I am forcing you to go to a mansion. Good news though, there's stuff in the mansion, or at least presumably stuff in the mansion,
like floors and ceilings and other people who were on the boat.
That's also true. Yes,
and it's on a rock.
Potentially more. It's on a rock. Speaking of rock, according to other recruit members who are actually pulling their end of the weight for once, apparently the one of the legendary items is on that mansion. So all they got to do is go there and kind of like, hey, fella, do you mind if we take this real quick? And then hope they say yes. That is the goal. Will that happen? I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying the chance of it happening is probably very small.
I thought you were just alluding to me trying to be friends with Rock and Rampage.
That also
That's where I thought that was going.
Play a role. That also could play a role in the story right now. So that was the summary there. You can check out the previous episode. That away points in the direction of the previous episode. Anything to add, either of you?
We had a dream about the fancy mansion.
That's true. There was a dream about the fancy mansion.
Everything boils down to Anirudh forcing us to go to the fancy mansion.
Basically, this mansion is extremely important, and I'm not saying that just because I spent way too much time planning this mansion. So,
it's also extremely fancy, that's why.
It is extremely fancy. I didn't actually
And
describe it
important.
as fancy, but that sort of implies some sort of fanciness.
It's also very mansion.
It's also very mansion indeed. So I think we've accomplished our goal here of talking about this mansion, and without further ado, we can dive on it. Splash, he says as he pulls up the Word and or Excel document that actually runs the whole game for him. It's the morning. It's, according to my clock here, which I'm pretty sure is right, Thursday, August 18th. It is the morning. You've just had a dream. And somebody kicked you out of that dream. That wasn't either of you two, which is a different thing. Both of you, I think we ended the episode with both of you, like, startling yourselves awake. Either of you going to talk to each other about anything, or do we just go back to sleep?
Well, I mean, do we? How did we get kicked out of the dream? Was it like somebody in our physical presence?
Well, no, so at the end of the episode last time was that you had this feeling that somebody knew you were there despite being in your little dream illusion state, and they kind of, like, pushed you out. Not physically, but, like...
Like, we got pulled out of the dream, and then all of a sudden, ugh.
Yeah, one of those sort of things.
I mean, Kyle, I
And,
think, looks... Because Kyle, you know, he has, like, the rundown of the know-how. Like, all right, this was kind of, you know, the kind of dream that we had, and all right, interesting. Kyle's gonna, like, you know, when he, like, startles awake, he's just gonna look over and just, you know, check to see if Rose is awake, alive.
I will say, during the dream itself, while both of you had the same dream, I don't think Daisy ever noticed that Kyle was there, or Rose ever noticed that Kyle was there.
Oh, I definitely did.
I forget if there was, like, a proper... Because
We,
Kyle
like,
was kind of
talked to
following
each
behind
other.
Rose the entire time. Oh, did that happen?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Okay,
if
I
there
guess-
was there verbal communication? I know there was communication. I don't remember if there was verbal communication.
Yeah. We at least like.
Yeah, as long as you two recognize each other, that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We at least
Okay,
like stood
in that
at the
case,
edge of
yeah.
a cliff together or something.
Right.
I
So, that
don't
happens.
know. I guess I'd just be like, that was interesting. So that happened to you too, right?
Kyle, at this point, like, it's still dark out. It's still nighttime. Kyle's just gotta kind of shrug and just go, you'll get used to it. And rolls back over and starts to go back to sleep.
Have you ever been pushed out like that before?
I think Kyle, like, holds up his hand. Like, Kyle still got, like, his back, and he holds up his hand and, like, kind of, like makes a little, like, hand, like, shake motion to be like, yeah, once or twice. And I think that has happened
Have
to
you?
Kyle once or twice. I think, well, at least once. Kyle, at the very least, has had people interfere in his dreams many times.
People have interfered. I will say this because
I don't remember if Kyle's ever, like, been forced out, but Kyle's had interference. So, like, this isn't, like, a huge
regardless-
logical leap.
Right. I think so I don't remember exactly if you have been pushed out or not. I will say how you were pushed out here is different than anything else that you've done. Whatever ability or technique they used felt different.
Okay.
Either because they actually pushed you out and you've never been pushed out before, or the way they pushed you out felt different.
Yeah.
So it is to boil it all down. This is a new experience of this specific type.
It is a point of mild concern, but also it's the middle of the night. Kyle needs to get his sleep. He's like, yeah, once or twice. Emotions once or twice.
Okay. Well, that was real, right?
You did do the dream test thing to find out this is a vision as opposed to a dream.
I think
that's how
I'm
we're
like
distinguished it. Yeah.
I'm like posing that to Kyle.
Yeah, no, that was a question for Kyle. Kyle gives a thumbs up and then just says, we'll talk about it more in the morning, and snuggles further into his pillow as he's trying to go back to sleep.
Okay. Let's see. I think I just lay in bed awake then and just like try and remember the people that I saw.
Yeah. So unlike dreams, I think your memory of what happened sticks in your head. It's like a dream that you really remember. Here's the thing: I don't remember everybody. I told you a lot of Pokemon.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
The ones you mentioned by name, you mentioned a few by name. You mentioned like North, South, I think Pearl. You didn't mention any of the Rocket Rampage by name. You mentioned, and by name I mean like by species.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple others you mentioned. It was a hodgepodge of recruits, good guys, bad guys. It was a hodgepodge.
So I think you have that in mind. The dream itself, walk around to the edge, walk back, everybody's out, there's some sort of conversation, looks like they're all looking for something, that sort of thing, you remember in detail. The Pokemon itself, you remember the ones that you remember? Because I don't remember who I told you.
I think I remember you said, like, I realized I was being watched or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, saw somebody that I recognized, but, like...
you know that
portrayed in the
somebody...
dream.
I think what you know is that somebody on this boat is the one that pushed you out. As opposed to one of the quote-unquote new folks.
So I guess then what I'm doing while Kyle goes back to sleep is just sitting up trying to, like, catalog all the people on the boat in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Are we going down the list ourselves?
Oh, I don't know. It's up to you if you want to rehash them. I was just saying that's what Rose is doing.
Oh gosh, who is on this boat? There's a bunch of people on this boat. I think you kind of just narrow that down. I don't know if... Actually, wait, you can go ahead and roll for this. Roll for me a... do. That's it. Go ahead and roll a do. Roll a smart roll of some sort. It'd be something intelligence related. It's something in that category, that's all.
Oh, that's a 6 + 1 is 7.
There are people on the boat, and there are people on the boat, and there are people on the boat. And I think with that knowledge, you start to like fade to sleep a little bit, unless you have any last minute thoughts.
Oh, I mean, I don't think she's like sleeping.
Okay.
That's basically what I was getting at. Like after that,
gotcha.
she can't go back to sleep.
In that case, that is the thought that pops into your mind. Is like there's folks on the boat, so it's a Pokemon on the boat. But like, does that include the captain? Does that include like the janitor? Does that include like the engineer on the bottom of the ship? Like,
so I remember Lucille. I remember the Rock and Rampage crew. I know North. I know the captain. Kyle.
Maybe the boat itself is the answer.
The boat is actually just a Lapras.
Yeah, have you not noticed this is just a giant Lapras?
Gigantamax Lapras.
It's a Gigantamax Lapras. But yeah, I think the next couple of hours go by and you just try to think about this, unable to go back to sleep, but ultimately not able to get much of anything when it comes to a specific idea beyond the people that you've met, right? Because there's so many people on the boat that you haven't met, right? And it could be one of those.
And it's not like every single person on the boat was there, but I also didn't necessarily know.
Right, exactly. It could be somebody, that you didn't notice, but you know that they're on the boat just by, like, memory. You just have that vague feeling, like, oh yeah, I remember you walking past. So those thoughts go through your head as we head to the next morning. Let's head there. If I'm not mistaken, you guys left yesterday at noon, right?
A bit afternoon, yeah.
A little bit afternoon. So it's been about 18 hours or so?
Some to that effect.
Okay, great.
Maybe closer to 20.
I have no concept of time.
Clocks are hard.
My phone broke last weekend, so I've had no concept of time for a long time. This is the only situation where I'm like, I know what time is.
Yikes. Okay, in that case, let's see, we got this here, and then... Gotcha, so it'll go to shore Friday afternoon, and right now it's Thursday morning, as we head to normal morning hours.
I think I probably would already have been up and out and around at breakfast when Kyle wakes up.
Okay. Are you out of the room already by 7 a.m. 7 a.m.-ish when Kyle's awake? All right, so Kyle, you wake up to see Rose's bed is empty, presumably out on the ship.
Yeah.
Rose
Hey,
is just
Kyle.
gone.
Unless Rose just jumped, for no reason. Just like, you know what, I'm gonna go swim.
Kyle looks at the window's closed. All right, we're good. I think Kyle's just gonna get up and go about his morning routine. Eventually make his way out to wherever the little cafeteria area is, and pick up some breakfast.
Gotcha. Cool. And I think today into tomorrow, I'm going to speed this up very quickly. Unless there is something that you particularly want to investigate, I'm just going to roll a couple times to see if random things occur. Is there anyone in particular of the people that you know, or if you want to meet new people, or you don't want to meet anyone at all, is there anything in particular that you would like to do while I roll these random events that may or may not matter.
I mean, at breakfast, I'm probably just like trying to make a mental catalog of all the people that walk through. Probably
Sure.
not introducing myself, but just being like, oh, that's somebody on the boat, trying to compare it to anybody I remembered seeing. It's probably not super effective considering I didn't fully remember everybody on the boat, but
yeah, I think
at least
you're
just
noticing
like
people.
trying to get a better recognition as the day goes on.
Yeah, sure. I don't think you need to roll anything for this. I think you're just trying to see if you can match people in your dream versus people on the boat, and you do for some of them. You recognize like North was there. You know, obviously you were there. You know, Kyle was there. You recognize this Famfi that walks around. That I think you may recognize as someone that Kyle spoke to, or spoke about. Out of memory, you remember like from the one times that you did the recruit stuff. You remember the Quagsire and the Ampharos. Those are likely they're not on the boat necessarily, but you know that those two are there as well. A couple of other folks, like you remember the Lucario, for example.
I guess my only other thing then would be like, I don't know if I necessarily need to, but might try and like contact Miss Quagsire and Pearl, or Miss Quagmire and Pearl, to be like, hello, did you have this dream too?
How would this work?
I don't know if Kyle wants to do anything different.
Yeah, Kyle, do you have anything in particular?
I think Oz communicated with everyone on the boat that he wanted to communicate with. He let North know, hey, I'm also gonna be there, but you still go ahead anyways. You know, touch base with Indy.
Right.
I think, Kyle, I think mentioned like, oh yeah, like, you know, this old traveling buddy of mine is also going, so you know, I'll see you there.
I'm also not certain Rose would like know that is a possibility. Like they would have to like go through Adam or something. So I don't know if she would specifically think to try and contact them and maybe just wait till they meet up. But
it would be tomorrow that you would meet up. So
yeah, that was just a thought that I had. I wonder if they had the dream too.
Cool. In that case, what I've rolled means that what I rolled doesn't matter to you two right now. We'll see if it
matters to everyone else because the boat is sinking. But
yeah, for you two it doesn't really matter. But yeah,
but we can fly.
Yeah, you get wings out of nowhere. I am going to say we can just jump to the end of the boat saga here. Little trip on the boat. We can finally leave the transportation side of things.
We're not having another boat episode? What is this?
We're ending the boat saga. I know, it was fantastic. We did the same thing twice and then called it a weekend. So this time, I think, as we go through, no dreams the next day, whatever that means. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but no dreams the next day. We go to the 19th. It's going to be around 4 p.m.-ish, 5 p.m.-ish when the boat reaches. And sure enough, as the boat starts to enter in, you guys are outside maybe at this point. And if you look over the horizon, you can see the city of Steamport as the boat is starting to come on in.
We're back! Hello everyone, this is Anirudh, the GM, PM, DM of Not a Scratch, and thank you for listening to this episode. That is right, we are back with our always weekly episodes coming out weekly, so be sure to follow, subscribe, and do all those important things you ought to do when supporting a podcast, because it helps. I will guarantee right now, if you subscribe, there will be an episode next week. If you're already subscribed, you have to stay subscribed. If you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. Long story short, thumbs up. Great. If you've enjoyed the episode and want to support us in any way, shape, or form that you can, the best way to do so is to share us with your friends. Share us with people. I'm going to be frank this time. No big side tangent thing. Share us with people that you think would be interested in the show. You know, anybody that you think is a fan of this type of content, go for it. Share it. We'd love to see what you guys have to say. You know, build the audience and all. Speaking of things that you want to say, leave us a review on your podcasting platform. Reviews help to bring new people into our community and give us advice on what we can improve upon in the future. We're on all sorts of social medias under at Not a Scratchcast or the Adoran region, so you can check either of those out, or email us at notascratchcast@gmail.com if you have any cool ideas to add to the podcast or just want to reach out to us. Best way to do so, though, is our Discord. We have a Discord for Not a Scratch. Have a bunch of amazing, awesome, wonderful people. It's so active, even especially during hiatuses, which is always very cool, like we accidentally did just now. So join us to help build the Not a Scratch community and hang out with a bunch of cool folks. We've also got a website, which you can check out at www.notascratchcast.com. It's got access to all of our episodes, merch page, fan art, commissioned art, the whole 9 yards. If you have fan art, please send it our way because we'd love to see it. If you'd like, we can put it on the website as well. We put a bunch of other folks' websites, or put art stuff on websites, and it updates over time, so stay tuned for that. We want to thank GlitchX City for the songs Kirby's Dream Land, the Lo-Fi remix, and the Legend of Zelda Mifa remix. And we also want to thank Tabletop Audio for the following songs: Open Ocean, Industrial Shipyard, Down by the Sea, and Mansion Night. We also want to shout out our patrons. We at Not a Scratch have a Patreon where you can get amazing extra benefits regarding the show and its future, including early access to episodes, special behind-the-scenes looks at our post-game show. This is a mainly weekly occurrence where we actually post immediately after an episode happens, tangents, actual reviews of the episodes, and more, all available at various different tiers. You can join as little as $1 or as high as $40, which is the highest tier. That is kind of a joke tier, but people actually join it, which I'm very thankful for. And you'll also be recognized during the show right here. Thank you to all of our Patreon members: Ginny, Ursa93, Eli, Damon Liger, Lord Toffee, Simon Pelajoaquin, Fennec, Evelyn C, Journeyman Negative, Robert O, Arming Sword and Buckler, Blue Earwear, and Barry Esteen. For more information about anything here, and a massive shout out to the Patreon members that were supporting us even during our accidental hiatus. For more information about that or anything else, you can check the links in the episode description or contact us on Discord or Twitter. Now, if you're interested in having a promo on the show for your podcast, we would love to help. All you have to do is send us an email or contact us on Twitter or Discord, and we'd be happy to discuss more. 2 things I want to promote here, both things that I am semi-connected with. The first thing is the Not a Scratch Wiki. This is a fan-made community wiki that I am greatly appreciative for, that actually goes back through and writes down and wikiifies, Wikipedia-like, all of the different content and characters and places and people that we're doing. And if you'd like to help with that, you can join our Discord where there's a separate channel dedicated solely to that. We would love to hear what your contributions are and your support throughout it, because it is a large endeavor, and a massive, massive shout out to everybody that's working on the wiki right now. Greatly appreciated. You don't know, I've used that more often than I would like to admit, considering I run this universe. The second thing I want to promote is actually a different podcast. Now, if you're a fan of this show, you probably like Pokemon, and you probably like the intricacies that come with this specific game. So, what if we explored that and compared it to the real world? What if you could take Pokemon and learn the actual lessons behind the biology, concepts, economics, and all sorts of fun details that the game makers put into the game? That is where a different show that I'm actually a contributor for, called Pika Science, comes into play. You can check this out wherever you listen to podcast players. Unfortunately, I do not have a specific promo for it here, but I recommend it, highly recommend it. It's been going on for a long, long time, recently under a new rebrand. They're going through a refresh, and I'm actually a contributor as a quote-unquote economics expert, which I'm very excited about. There's a few episodes about that, or if you're more into the biology or the ecology side of things, there's a bunch of episodes there, and there's an expectation we might be expanding to different universes as well. So check out Pika Science wherever you listen to podcasts. There is a link in the description below to check out the main feed for that. And now, let us dive back in to our universe and our story as we get back to Not a Scratch.
Again, Port City, very much a business sort of style of thing. Close to the hotspots, but not a hotspot area itself, so as such, yeah, there ain't as much action here.
It's also the oceanside harbor, so
It is,
shipping.
Yep. You, Kyle, get actually both of you are in port cities, right? Thunder Tree and Vulcanburg are both port cities of different sizes, right? Thunder Tree is by the ocean over there, and then Vulcanburg is on the river. So I think both of you are pretty comfortable with the business, the transportation of goods side of things. I don't know if that means anything.
Muscle.
Yeah, exactly. The city itself, kind of similar to both of those. Not as expansive as Vulcanburg, not as industrialized as Thunder Tree is, but it's still growing in that sort of way. As we continue on. So, We reach Steamport. The boat docks in. I think everybody is going to get off the ship, unless, of course, one of you wants to stay on for some ridiculous reason. Uh,
Do we
you just
know
wanna-
where we're supposed to meet Pearl and Miss Quagmire?
I don't know if there was a specific spot that you were heading to.
But they said they would meet us here, right? In Steamport?
They said they would meet you here, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know.
I mean,
So you guys
Kyle's
get off
plan
the
was
boat with
get off the
everybody else?
boat, do a quick little scan around, like, the docks, and if Kyle doesn't see anyone familiar, ring, ring, hello, we're here. Where y'all at? That was Kyle's plan.
I think when you guys get off the boat, you see Pearl there with a little like chauffeur sign of like Kyle / Rose, just like putting it up, be like, "Hello," and you, yes, yay, it's you guys, hey. So you meet up with Pearl very quickly.
Hi. What's the plan? What's going on? Are we
Oh,
staying in the city or?
Oh no, not very, very long. So what we're gonna do is meet up with Well, first we're gonna meet up with Miss Quagmire because we have to do that, and then we're gonna get on this little like canoe-ish sort of thing. All heading to the Blank Mansion because there's a bunch of people with the invitations. So we're gonna go. That leaves in about an hour, which is enough time for us to go grab Mrs. Quagmire, who's chilling at the room that we've booked, and then we'll go to the Blank Mansion.
Okay. Sure.
Kyle gives nod of approval of like, yes, this plan sounds good.
Great, let's go.
And Pearl kind of just, I think, takes that little sign of thing and just like flicks it behind her, and then just walks on. And you head over, meet up with Mrs. Quagmire once again, who's basically all packed up, ready to go. And you guys head over to some location. I'm going to say this is some location that was listed on the invitation itself of like, go here, grab the mini boats that'll head you to the Blank Mansion. Anything you want to discuss while you're walking around? You got an hour with 2 other recruits here, for Rose's sake, and you've got an hour with 2 recruits that you know pretty well, Kyle. So, anything you want to chat about or get set up, preparation, questions, comments, concerns?
An hour's definitely not enough time, but if there was longer, I was gonna be like, maybe I should bake some more PokePuffs.
You speed bake them?
I don't think so. They wouldn't turn out as well.
How long does it make? You have complete control over this. How long does it take to make a PokePuff?
I mean,
Either
3
one or a
seconds.
set.
You make them in
Yeah, 'cause if
batches, right? And I guess it depends on the type of dough that it is, but it usually takes a while to do baking. If I were to try and bake something within an hour, I think it would be very stressful.
Right.
But I mean, maybe if I had help. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
do you guys want to take a 1 hour like cooking
if they would want to help?
binge? Pearl's down for literally anything. That is Pearl's move. And as long as you're not late, I don't see why Mrs. Quagmire wouldn't. Kyle, it's really up to you. Do you want to go bake some
Yeah.
PokePuffs?
Maybe
I mean,
maybe
if
I ask
they all
Pearl
want
then.
to stay in the little inn and bake, as long as we're not late, like, it's cool.
All right.
I don't
Do
know.
you think it would be possible to do it in an hour?
I mean,
This
with
is-
some help,
look,
maybe.
PokePuffs are not a thing in the Mystery Dungeon games as far as my system / the games are. So this is completely you. You can
Oh,
define
yeah.
what a PokePuff is and how that works. So
Neither are like baguettes or croissants. So I make those too.
So
I think
how
maybe
long?
PokePuffs would be a little easier than like a loaf of bread or anything because I wouldn't have to worry too much about rising. But with some
Gotcha.
help, if Pearl wants to make some with me, we can make some.
Cool. In that case, roll. What would this be? What would you classify this as? Like baking? Would that be like a performance thing or a dexterity type thing?
Or a smart thing.
Yeah, or a smarts thing, or maybe a wisdom thing. The only one I can't see is strength, unless your method of making it is by punching or yelling into the.
I mean, it would be a skill that I have, so I could go through wisdom. But I believe you said I get advantage on anything that involves baking.
Yes, you do. So it's just a matter of which
So, I mean,
attribute are we talking here?
I would push for beauty because that's just what my best one is. But also, baking involves beauty.
It is
I
art.
want to make it presentable.
I think for you can roll a beauty roll here because it is a skill that you've had and are able to do very well. It's second nature at this point, which I tend to associate with wisdom as opposed to intelligence, which is more of like a book smart versus street smart sort of thing. Is how it's kind of separated between smart and intelligence and wisdom in my head. So with that, I think you can roll beauty with advantage for your baking skills. I'm going to roll for the assistants here, which is Mrs. Quagmire and Pearl. If Kyle wants to join in, Kyle can roll as well.
I mean, it sounded
Has-
like Kyle
has
maybe
Kyle
wanted
been
to do
asked
something
to
different. I'm
help?
not sure if it's true. I mean, I probably just said like, hey, I'm gonna try and do some baking real quick. If anybody wants to help, it'd be appreciated. It'll go faster. Maybe you can gather some ingredients or something.
I think Kyle like looks at the clock, looks at the two older recruits to see what they're thinking, and seeing everyone bought in, Kyle just goes, okay, and just sticks his hand out and just saying, just give me the list.
All right, Kyle's like, all right, what do I do here? Cool. In that case, all three of us are going to roll. All three being two of me and Kyle here. We're gonna roll cool, while Rose rolls beauty.
Well,
And then Rose, you roll with advantage.
yeah, my advantaged roll is 17 plus 2, so 19.
Kyle.
I've got 5 plus 1.
So Kyle, you get like I think. All right, you got a 6. I have an 18, a 17, and then Rose has the 19. So, I think that averages out to be pretty good.
What
Right, what would that
toppings
actually
does
average
Kyle
out to?
get?
I think. Hold up. Let's see. 19 plus 18 plus 17 plus 6, right?
6.
Divided by 4. That averages out to a 15. So I think it turns out really well. The only side effect is that Kyle, you're like basically covered in flour. So.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So they turned out pretty well. I don't know how many you're making in this batch.
That's up to you. I don't know.
I don't know
I
if
guess
you,
I could say-
Are you keeping track of the PokePuffs?
Oh,
Is that like an
absolutely
actual
not.
thing? Or...
It's an
I
infinite
think-
bag of PokePuff in the apron.
Yeah.
I was just
I think
because I had at least canonically mentioned that a few of them were getting low.
I think you Ooh, do we set up PokePuffs? Do I just make that a thing now?
It's up to you.
All right. Through the power of magic, and sheer willpower, and 3.5
baking.
cooks in the kitchen, I think we can set so that you now have enough Pokebuffs for every single type, because this is a full success, effectively. So
Mhm.
enough of Pokebuffs for every single type, and X number. I don't know what number seems reasonable to you, comparing, taking in account the hour limit here, but also the fact that you brought a bunch with you.
Yeah.
Whatever
I
number you
mean-
think is comfortable. Of like, I have this many water Pokebuffs and that same number of everything else.
Equating it to like cupcakes, like a tray of cupcakes is 12, so maybe I just have like 12 or 24. I don't know. 2 trays of cupcakes isn't too bad.
Okay,
I was
The
gonna
box
say a
usually
million,
makes.
so you have 24 total, or 24 of each?
That is, I don't know. I wasn't expecting to actually keep track of it. I was just more of like
I'm turning this into a thing, whether you like it or not. So,
putting some narrative fluff in here.
I'll
if
find some
you're
effects for
gonna
what
do
a Pokebuff
24
actually does.
total, there are 18 types, so
Yeah.
So how do we want to?
I don't think I can carry more than 24.
I will say I'm making the executive decision that somehow your apron is a bag of infinite holding, except it's only for Pokepuffs.
Okay.
Right? And anything else you got to put in your regular bag, and it doesn't work. But magically, your apron, passed down through the bakery for generations, and by generations I mean the single generation. But still, the power of this apron is that Pokepuffs are able to be put in there forever and ever. So, I think we will. Ooh. All right, here's what I'll do, because that'll be 18.
I don't know. I just don't think it needs to be this crunchy of a mechanic.
But I want Pokepuffs to do something.
I mean, they
As
can
opposed to-
do something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if we have to keep this great.
they're just there for the vibes.
Yeah.
I'll say you have 3 of every single type.
Okay.
Now, after whatever we make today, you now have 3 of every single type. And don't worry, I'll keep track because I want to.
Okay. I'm not going to.
You don't have to. I will do
Anirudh
this.
has had enough of your Pokepuff diplomacy. He is putting a limit on it.
It's a character trait.
No, see, the real reason for this is the fact that you offered them a rock Pokepuff makes me want to add an effect to it and be like, eating a Pokepuff gives you this much extra strength, and then they come around to fight you and they'll be like, ha, thanks for your Pokepuff. Now take this rock throw. And like,
Well, if we really want to get real with it, PokePuffs build bond between.
hey, take this rock throw, but on somebody else.
So they start to like me more. And eventually, they'll evolve into Sylveon.
What's this? Geodude's evolving. Dun 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 dun. Your Geodude has evolved into Sylveon. What type of randomizer is this?
Your Geodude has evolved into Crobat.
Perfect. Anyway, so you've gotten that baking done, and you head off towards the end destination. And at the time that's designated, which right now is now 6 p.m., the sun slowly starting to set, we see a lot of Pokemon here. There's a bunch of them. You guys are here. There's various Pokemon you recognize, various Pokemon you don't. And you see one of the it's Mousehold. Mousehold?
Mousehold, yeah.
Mousehold.
Mousehold.
It's a household of mouse.
You see one of the Mousehold family members who seems to be there. Can they be separated? That's a good question. How does Mousehold?
That's up to you to decide. I was gonna say it might
Mousehold
be
is
weird.
one Pokemon with like it's a Pokemon that's 4 different mouse.
It's like Phalanx.
It's like Phalanx or like Magneton or
You know
It's
what?
like-
Executive decision. They're
I would
not,
say it's a
'cause
little
I-
different than Magneton and more like Phalanx.
Magneton,
Phalanx
yeah, 'cause
literally
they
is
share a
5
conscious-
different things.
Yeah, Phalanx is it 5 or is it 6?
I think it's 5, but it could be 6. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Regardless, it's
remember.
like there's all individual ones, and one
They-
of them is the leader.
Yeah. Phalanx is it is more similar to Phalanx. What other Pokemon are like that?
Which is so strange.
I guess
that they all
Wishy-Washy is
fit
also
in one.
kind of like that, but also not really.
Yeah.
Wishy-Washy's like that, and then you take it down to half health, and they all scatter.
But that does mean that a full health Wishy-Washy needs to have a bunch of its crew on board. Everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's just like a Naruto summoning contract. They're just like, go, whoom.
Wait, but does Wishy-Washy take on its school form at the start of battle, or does it enter battle in school form? I don't remember.
I guess
The
at
battle
start,
begins and then
but
it transforms.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be near where there might be Wishy-Washy.
Oh no! You take a Wishy-Washy to take in a battle in a landlocked area, and it's just like, well.
It's got to bring its friends. In the
No, that's what I'm
Pokemon.
saying. It's like a summoning contract where you just like, as soon as the battle begins, throw a scroll in the air, and then a bunch of Wishy-Washy just appear out of that.
Or the trainer just has to lug around like a 500-gallon tank.
Or the trainer has 4,000 Wishy-Washies. Like, they're all in my bag right now. Or you have like a bunch of goldfish like bowls that you're just dragging along with you. It's like Wishy-Washy go, and then just dump the rest out. Anyway,
Release
regardless
the
of all that, that's-
anchovies.
Anyway, let's head back to this. So yes, one of the mousehold. That's how you say it, mousehold. One of the mousehold family members, who is named what did I name him? Oh wait, you guys named him. That's right. We'll go with Fergus. One of the mousehold members named Fergus. This is one of the bigger ones. Is out here. Is like, hello, everyone. Welcome to the blank mansion. Sort of, kind of. It's out there. He points behind him, and you see in the distance what is likely to be, but right now very small, large mansion.
Why does that voice like fit exactly what in my head a talking mousehold dad would sound like?
Hello, hey, how you doing? My name's Fergus. Nice to meet you. Real friendly fella.
This is the dad of the mousehold, but in my head right now, there's a little mustache on him.
Why not?
It's
I just jotted
from
down.
the voice, just from the voice.
I just jotted it down. So yeah, it's like hey, so nice to meet you. My name's Fergus. My husband Bartholomew's in the back. Back there. You know how it is. If you'd like, get ready. We can get started with this. Everyone's ready for a grand time now. Communication travel back and forth from Steamport to the Blink Mansion. A little complicated, but do not worry. We have a fun method of transportation for you. And he kind of points behind him, and you see like cool little canoes, I think, that are set up. So if you could just go two per canoe, drop down, go ahead and pick one, whichever one's your fancy. They all work exactly the same. Go ahead, pick up one of those, and then I'll direct you over to the Blank Mansion. So, I don't know if you have pairs already, but you can feel free to pick your partner. Choose how you like.
Oh, I should have made pair PokePuffs. Dang.
Yeah, I don't know if you
contractually
have a particular
obligated
pick.
to be in the same boat because of the commissioned picture.
I think everybody starts pairing up. I'm gonna make the executive decision unless you really don't want to that you two are paired up, and plop you guys on the canoe, and everyone starts heading out. Just for giggles, roll me a tough roll, both of you.
Okay. Ooh. Pardon, I just dropped my dice everywhere. Really is a tough roll.
Daisy, I know this isn't what
Nah,
you
I
did,
got a
but it
tough roll.
sounds like... Daisy, I know this isn't what you did, but it feels like when you rolled the die, you literally just threw it behind you. It's like, all right, tough roll. Tosses it in the back corner.
I got a 17
your
plus
rolls?
1, 18.
18.
2 + 2 is 4.
Rose, you are carrying this. I think when Kyle tries to row, it's like it starts swerving in one direction or the other.
Oh, you mean I'm
That's
picking
a
up the
1
boat
foot
and
tall
wading through the
tree. How's
water?
he gonna row a canoe?
What's this?
How is Kyle gonna row
Kyle's
the
trying his
canoe?
best. It's
The
not working.
paddles on the ends of the oars are bigger than Kyle. Like, he's good.
Kyle at this point is providing motivational support, which is, I think, the best role he can possibly play at this point.
Actually, I'd like to think I'm just picking up the boat and carrying it through the water, and Kyle's just pretending to row. Like, yeah. I'm doing it.
Yay! I did it. Meanwhile, Rose, you're like, sure, buddy. But ultimately, it's not like you guys take a sharp turn left and end up in a different city. You guys are successfully able to approach the mansion, and sure enough, when you reach there, it looks very familiar. The mansion itself, you see it, large building. It is called the Blank Mansion for a reason. As you look outside, you see built out of bricks, but everything is pure white. The roof, however, is red, which is kind of odd. The doors themselves, large wooden doors that cover the gate. There's a lot of grass area that you approach. The rocks that you that are spaced out enough you don't have to really avoid them, but they are there nevertheless. And approach it, you can see the greenery in this area. There's a backyard that presumably exists with big trees and small little forest areas and stuff like that. You approach it. There's like a decent sized dock as well that looks like is where the canoes are parking. And sure enough, Fergus is bringing his canoe over to the side, just kind of like shouting back to him, "Hey, so make sure that you got all the canoes on the side here. Make sure that they're tied up as well. We don't want a canoe floating off in the abyss. That would not be fun."
Ha 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 ha.
With that, everybody starts heading up on the canoes itself to that dock area. They're all tied up. They're all good to go. And you pop
I
outside.
float off
And
into
sure
the
enough,
abyss.
and then Rose disappears, and then we continue from there. Now, so everybody gets off the dock, heads up to the mansion itself. There's a little pathway which you guys recognize, nice like paved little pathway that you're able to walk on without too much trouble. The grass nicely trimmed and everything like that. You can see two children in the corner, kind of playing with the ball with each other as you head on in.
All right.
Perfect. So, reach the front door. Large, booming gate. This mansion, Kyle, you get vague flashbacks of Snow's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that same sort of style of, like, I feel like there are too many rooms in this place. Like, to possibly visit. You get that sort of feeling. And walk on in. You walk in, Fergus has opened the door. He's, like, taking off his shoes. It said Pokemon wear shoes. Getting things comfortable, like rubbing his feet on the carpet and everything like that as you walk in. Sure enough, very nice mansion. It's not extravagant, so that's one thing. That it's not like they have like pointless things that they purchase, but it is a large house nevertheless. And you pop on in, you see Fergus's husband, Bartholomew, which I love the names you guys gave last episode. Bartholomew, come on in, kind of give Fergus a little hug, and then be like, "Hey everyone, welcome. This is gonna be an exciting time. I appreciate you all popping in. Greatly appreciate everyone that's here to help us out."
What are we helping out with?
Great question. Glad you asked. I think the best thing to do is talk about this over dinner, in fact. So, if you'd like, you can take a little bit of time to explore the grounds and everything like that. Dinner is in that room, just kind of points into the dining room. It's in that room at about 7:30ish. We'll do a little call to help you out and remind you all to bring it back in. But first off, I want you to enjoy. If you have any questions, you can ask me, you can ask my husband, you can ask either of the kids if they feel like helping you, who knows. Explore, take your time, enjoy, and we'll meet back up to discuss the intricate details of the thing. And they kind of like, people start walking around, they look at the mansion, there's like paintings and stuff like that, standard rich people stuff. I don't know.
I just like look over to whoever's next to me. I was like, is that weird to anybody else?
Is what weird?
The fact that I said, "Why are we here?" and they said, "You'll figure it out."
Well, no, he's saying more like why are we here? Like, I'll explain the
it
details.
over dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's weird necessarily, but
The fact that
explain
none
over
of us know why we're here.
well, some people have details. You guys don't really. Have
We
a
know
reason
why we're here.
You know, well, you know why you're here. You don't know what he.
Not
wants
only
you
do
to
we know why we're here, we know why a lot of the people that are here are here.
Do we?
Sort of.
We know why rock people are here. So
Do
we know
we?
why. Yeah, they're planning a heist. Clearly, they're planning a heist.
I would say we
got-
don't know why most people are here.
Well, most sure, but I mean, we know why Officer is here. We don't know why other Officer is here. Right? Because we told Officer to come, and then Officer got an invite. Indy was like, I'm going to do some exploring, so Indy's doing his exploring thing and got an invite. Recruits are here because recruit. We know why a lot of people are here.
Well, I guess so.
Did you two want to discuss your little dream thing? Because, sorry, I didn't. Not your dream thing. Or maybe your dream thing actually. Because I actually didn't give you the chance. We kind of just skipped over the time that you would have done that. So.
I
would you
mean,
like to do that now?
I guess didn't talk to we talked to each other about as much as it seemed like Kyle wanted to talk about anything.
Well, Kyle made it very clear. Oh, we'll talk about it in the morning, and then Rose didn't bring it up in the morning. So Kyle was like,
Well, no,
Okay.
that's on me. So I don't know if you guys wanted to actually do that conversation.
Oh, I didn't remember if Kyle said we'll talk about it in the morning.
Yeah. That was Kyle's whole thing was like, yeah, we'll talk about it in the morning, and then snuggle back at the pillow and go to sleep.
I guess Rose forgot.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it now, or
I mean, I think what
This is-
I was planning on doing, and then we didn't necessarily. We just kind of rushed through it. Was bringing it up while baking, like
Oh,
to
sure,
ask Pearl and Miss Quagmire.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Did
I
this
think- I
happen
think
to
if
you
you-
too?
I think we can have that conversation
Flashback.
now if you want, or flashback
Yeah.
it either way. Yeah. So I think you hang out with Pearl and Mrs. Quagmire. Kyle, I assume you hang out with them as well, unless you want to
Yeah,
go with someone else. So yeah, I think you guys are just walking the gardens or so, and you're asking questions. So Rose, what question did you want to ask exactly?
I mean, it was just like, did you have this dream as well?
This specific dream. Okay.
Like we had the dream together. We're all recruits, right? Maybe it happened to them too.
I think Mrs. Quagmire looks at you a little like eyes raised. No, we didn't have that dream. Did you have that dream, Pearl? Nope. Pearl's too busy looking at like flowers. Nope, didn't have that dream. Sounds interesting though. Certainly useful. We've had a bunch of dreams. I'm not sure really what exactly distinguishes between the person having a dream and not having a dream. Especially between the recruits. Like there are some dreams I've had that nobody else has had. Though that might be because of my specific legendary or my specific code name, or maybe it's just something I really need to know. So I'm assuming the same things happen with you guys. Like there are specific sort of things that you've had that the others haven't.
Okay. Well, then, do you know anybody who can like push us out of dreams?
Push you out of dreams. Push you
that
out of
happened.
dreams.
And
That's a new one.
they're here.
Oh, that's slightly terrifying. That's certainly. Oh gosh, how do I switch between these two voices that are basically the same thing, just with different accents? Oh, certainly. That's certainly a new one, pushing you out of a dream. Well, let's see here. Well, it'd have to be somebody either worst case scenario, it's part of the ring, which would be a terrible situation. Because that would imply that they're here, which makes our search a little bit more frantic, you know what I mean? Alternatively, could be certain Pokemon out there, I don't know all of them, but certain Pokemon are out there that can do the vision things themselves, just nothing to do with recruit stuff. They have their own abilities, every Pokemon has their own separate abilities that can allow them to do different sort of things, So perhaps it's something like that?
I guess, maybe. Well, maybe just be on the lookout then. Which,
Right. It could be, there's a possibility. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this, but there is the possibility that it is one of those Pokemon that just has the ability to control their mind and make sure that people don't invade their thoughts. And it might have been a situation where your thoughts weren't theirs, and therefore they instantly started their defense mechanism. It's not necessarily a good or bad thing yet until we find out who it is. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's an interesting thing. We should definitely keep an eye out on that.
Although, do you know what is going on here anyway? Like with this invitation? Like you just gave this
Oh yeah,
to
it
us.
seems
I
like there's
don't-
some sort of problem that they're trying to ask us to solve. We're various different explorers and intellectuals all across Outcast, and they've decided to call on us. I don't have an exact reason why they've called each one of us specifically, but I presume various different exploits that we've all done that have brought our attention to the Mousehole family here.
Okay. So nobody does really know why they're here.
We know there's
Other
a
than-
problem, but
Other than, out other level, why we're here.
well, we have our own reason to be here.
Right.
But that's hopefully that's part of the problem. We can do two things at once. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's ideal. Because I think the invitation itself sort of like vaguely describes, "Hey, we got a problem. We think you're really cool. Would you like to help us?" And it's sort of like if you'd like to help us, show up type of thing.
Okay. I mean, I don't necessarily know what to do here now then, but
Well, at this specific moment, if you have any other questions, because I know you want to talk recruit stuff, and Kyle has shared things in Kyle's own way, but you have two new recruits to talk to, because you've talked about this with Adam, you talked about this with Kyle. Two recruits, different styles, different perspectives. Feel free to ask them any questions if you want.
I mean, I didn't
Or
really
Kyle,
have
if you
any-
have any questions as well.
I didn't have any recruit questions other than like how do we do this? Like how are we going about this?
Oh, I think that's a good point. Let's talk strategy. So I think Pearl all of a sudden gets really serious out of nowhere, and it's like, okay,
'Cause
so
we have no plan.
right, we need to Pearl's like, Rose, great idea. Let's build a plan, and then immediately like finds a nearby table and it's like, all right, come on. Pearl, very energetic out of nowhere as usual.
I was
You
not
see Pearl
expecting
kinda, like-
Pearl to be energetic about planning.
Pearl's energetic about everything. It's just got to be on her mind at that point. And then pulls out like a I don't know, like a piece of paper and starts drawing the map out. Pretty decent, like the map of the grounds and everything like that. Pretty decently. Like this area is the house, this area is the garden, this area is the forest, this area is the driveway or whatever the equivalent is, the docks area, etc. Kind of divides it up and then lays it out to you. It's like, okay, so big thing. The rock horn is. Oh, where's my Pearl voice? Hello. The rock horn is specifically gonna be somewhere on here. And Mrs. Quagmire nods, like, "Yep, that sounds about right." So, usually, Kyle, you'd know this better than everyone else. Usually, there's some sort of task or a mission or a please help us situation, a riddle, a puzzle, a blockade, whatever it is. There's something along those lines that once you get past, ta-da, it's a rock horn. Right, Kyle? There's usually some sort of like,
Kyle
do this and then this shows up.
Kyle just nods like, "Yep."
Right. So first thing we got to, there is a chance that the mouseholds are the ones that have the puzzle, and if it's solving this problem, then it becomes imperative that one of us four solves it and therefore gets the rock horn before somebody else does, or worst case scenario, somebody bad does. Alternatively, if it's not the mouseholds that have the puzzle and they have their own issue that needs to be solved, then we need to find that actual puzzle, solve it, get through it, etc., etc., etc.
How do we know what the puzzle is?
At this point, Kyle just chimes up and just says,
Yeah,
"Save
they just
me
kind of
from
look at you
suspense,
like,
and I
"Oh."
can save you from them."
Right. So,
Sorry, what was it?
Perfect. Here, I think Mrs. Quagmire probably has it at some point. Mrs. Quagmire pulls out like this parchment, effectively, and a long list, and you can read on them various different like riddles that are mentioned. And Mrs. Quagmire points at one of them, which says, "Save me from the grunts, and I can save you from them." This is our puzzle, sort of. We got to figure out what this
Okay.
means, and then this equals what we're all assuming is the rock horn. The others have their own special things. In fact, I don't know if you have that list, Muhammad.
I do.
Would you like to read all of them out for Rose's sake? Because
Rose in her mind is also just like, why have I not been shared this yet?
I think like the clues specifically aren't something that's like been, or not. It's not something that like has been like kept close to the chest. It's more so of like the recruits who were there when we figured out the clues. Cool. Otherwise, it's like when you're tasked with the with finding this item and following this clue, you'll learn the clue kind of deal.
Okay. Recruits are very disorganized.
No, it's
I
organized
mean, I
chaos.
guess that's true. They've lost all their members, so
All their members were lost. All their members didn't know. Anyways,
we gotta find them.
but yeah,
Yeah, we gotta find them and then we can tell them all the stuff, right?
So Kyle just like points to them down the line. The first one being the flowers are leaving, make them fly. And Kyle points to that one. And he's like, this one's for the grass coronet. We already have that. And then the next one is the one that we just talked about. And then the next one was show the land rival that the first creation trusts you. And as Kyle points to that one, he goes, this one we think is a Terra symbol. And the next one is show the ocean rival that the mythical child trusts you. And Kyle points to that one. He's like, and this one has to do with this guy here as he points to his bag.
Manaphy just blows a bubble in your face for no reason.
Yep.
It's like, blah.
And then the next one is show luck that luck is with you. And as Kyle points to that one, Kyle, he just says, if you remember Victini, Victini got us the fiery drum with that one. That's not actually how we got the fiery drum, but I mean, that's kind of just how it went anyways. And then the next one is when the Sir are free, I can start. And Kyle points to that one. And he goes, this one was the icy flute. We already have that one. And the last one is the wingless must beat me to control the weather. And he points to that one. He goes, and this one we think is the sky melodica. So by process of elimination, Kyle points back to the hit we're looking at. It says we think this is the clue that we got to follow.
Okay. So who are the grunts then? And who are we saving?
Mrs. Quagmire, Pearl, give a shrug. I don't know, Kyle, if you have any guesses.
Kyle also gives a shrug. And all three of them just shrug simultaneously. Like,
Okay.
and Kyle kind of chimes in of, all we know is that most of these hints, typically we're getting the legendary item from a legendary. Usually. Most of the time.
So we have to then find a legendary here then.
Kyle just kind of gives a half nod, just like, yeah.
I think Manaphy raises their hand, like, me? Am I the one that gives you this?
Found it! Okay. And I think Rose is probably just going to be like, so do you think then those three, Kyle?
Kyle gives it a second. He's thinking about it. And he looks back up, but he kind of just shrugs and say, could be.
Okay. I think I'll try and keep an eye on them then, because they might lead us to where we need to go. And I would probably at this point fill in Pearl and Miss Quagmire.
Yeah, I think Pearl and Miss Quagmire are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, is this someone cool? Is this a friend? Looks at Kyle real quick. Okay, so not a friend.
I mean, Rose is like, I don't know, but I think they're misguided. And explains, like, there's these people that are, like, picking on Kyle and they want to steal some stuff. But
Gotcha.
they seem pretty shady and giving away.
Rock and Rampage are pretty well known, and I feel like at some point Kyle would have filled in. Well, I don't know about Pearl, but at least like Miss Quagmire on what happened with Rock and Rampage. So
I think Mrs. Quagmire recognizes them from way back during the recruit thing.
Also the guild tryout. Yeah, they were there during the guild tryout. So I think Kyle, like, at their questions, was like, oh yeah, who, what? Like, a friend of Kyle's is gonna be like, turn to Miss Quagmire and be like, remember, you remember Rock and Rampage? The three. Yeah, them.
Pearl's like, not a friend? Not a friend. Okay, so not a friend. Not a friend. Got it.
This is Rose's time to shrug.
Rose like, maybe not a, probably not, question mark, not a friend.
They just need some.
They aren't friends necessarily, but I did give them a PokePuff, so maybe now they're friends.
They're not
That's
friends.
How it works, right?
They might be food, but they're not friends.
They're not friends yet.
And I think with this, you hear the sort of announcement of like, hey, it's dinner time. You want to come over? Food is a thing.
Food,
Whoa.
details, answers.
Food and answers brought to you by us. Come on.
I mean, I think if what I would like to do then though is I want to see if I can see Rock and Rampage going to the dinner, Like if I don't see them going to because I saw them get on the boat, right?
You saw them get on the boat.
So to come here, right?
We did not mention anything about them being on the canoes.
So I did not see them on the canoes to come here.
I will say that you were not looking for them. Therefore,
Okay.
they could be here. They may not be here. If you would like to roll to see if they're here, as we approach the dinner table.
Yeah, because my thought was if I don't see them approach the dinner table, I would go look for them. So like I'd be like waiting for everybody to go into the room, like the dining room, and if I don't
think
see them,
this probably won't need a roll. I think when are you just hanging back by like the door into the dinner table to see everybody walk in? I think by doing that, you do not see any of the Rocking Rampage members.
Then I think I would probably tell them. And then I'd be like, if I don't see them, I'm gonna go look.
Okay.
You guys get the information about what's going on. But I wanna find them.
Okay. Kyle, that sounds good to you?
Kyle gives a nod and a salute.
I think Pearl and Mrs. Quagmire are good with this as well.
Rose is confused with the salute, but just like waves back.
They kind of just give you the nod and then let you go. Let's go with Kyle for now. So dinner time started. Time right now is about 7:30ish. I need to write this down. Where is my thing? Here we go. It's about 7:30ish. Perfect. And I think as everyone's sitting down, they're starting to eat. Everything's all cool and collected. You see the two mousehold kids, the two larger mouseholds, kind of in the front of the table. Everybody else kind of just picking the seat and going there. Everybody's there. Kyle, do you have any questions about the people that are here? Because everyone right now is just eating before the announcement, so to speak.
I think Kyle's just gonna very quickly scan around for any familiar faces around the table, around the room.
Sure. I will list off. I'll list off the species of Pokemon, and if you have any questions about any of them, then we might roll for it. So the species of Pokemon that are here, not in any order of sitting, just on order of what's written down on my sheet, are there is a Magnezone, a Phanpy, a Trico, which is you. The Audino is not here. Quagsire, Ampharos, Steelix, Cyndaquil, Glaceon, Lucario, Clodsire, Dartrix, Metagross, Duskull, Sizzlipede, Marshchief, and Kingdra.
Interesting. Okay, so Kyle's met all but 4 of these people.
Probably?
Well,
You
5.
might have-
5, but Kyle's heard of South.
Yes. I think
Kyle's heard of South, and there are 4 others that he has never met.
Let me see here, because you've met.
Kyle,
So yeah, we'll give names. I think there's a little
hasn't-
name tags for.
Yeah, Kyle.
I think there'll be
hasn't-
name tags for them.
Yeah, Kyle hasn't met the Steelix or Magnezone, but has heard of them too. Kyle hasn't met the
He met the
Kingdra, the
Magnezone.
Clodsire. No, sorry, not Magnezone. I meant Metagross.
Yeah.
Both M's with some number of letters. Kyle, so Steelix, Metagross hasn't met them, but has heard of them and knows that they're to be trusted. One of them is a guild member. Then there's the Kingdra and the Mastiff and the Dartrix, and those 3 Kyle hasn't met.
The Dartrix you have met.
The Dartrix I have met,
Yes.
or the Dartrix I've heard of.
The Dartrix you have met.
Okay.
The Dartrix went against you in a court case.
Yeah. I was like, is it that same Dartrix? It is that same Dartrix. Okay.
It is that same
Yeah. So who am I forgetting that I noted down in my head of I have not met this person?
Clodsire.
Clodsire. Yeah. So Clodsire, Kingdra, Mastiff are the 3 that I don't think Kyle has met or heard of.
Correct.
Cool. All right. I'm with you.
I think
I'm gonna forget all
Kirk-
this by next episode.
It's fine. I think HC and Kirk notice you and they just look at you like with confusion, and I think it's confusion at this point. I don't think they're necessarily antagonistic with you at this point because you guys have gone through.
Kyle's worked with them on a guild thing, so
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's like all right.
Just, what are you?
Kyle,
You can see-
Kyle just like makes eye contact with them and just like waves it off, just like whatever.
I think
Like,
Kirk
like,
is.
don't worry
Kirk
about
just
it. It's
gives you,
fine. This is fine.
Stare. Yes, and then I think I've mentioned this previously, but if not, Steven is a shiny.
Yes, you have mentioned this.
Okay. Cool. And I think you note that if you want any specific questions on anyone here, I can attempt to answer them. But for now, everyone's chewing on dinner, chilling.
Yeah, Kyle was just looking around the room trying to figure out, all right, who is suspect around here?
I think Mrs. Quagmire has mentioned that that Rose isn't here, but like busy eating, but not busy eating. Just wanted to take a walk longer, not interested in eating right now.
Yeah.
They seem to be cool with that.
Yeah. But no, Kyle's looking around and is looking at this group and is like, all right, this is, if things come to blows, I've got more friends than enemies in this room, so I'm chilling.
Right.
And then Kyle has a mental note of there are 3 others showing up. Kyle saw their planning. He knows where they're trying to show up.
Sort
right?
of. Yeah. They're here.
Well, Kyle saw them with blueprints and schematics and.
I don't think you would have recognized like they're trying to get into the attic or the basement or the storage or something like that. But
he just knows they know the layout and they know.
Yeah.
Were there any vulnerabilities that they had pointed out?
I did not specify anything.
You did not specify that. Yeah. Fair enough.
So who knows?
You're not giving Kyle all the answers. But I rolled so many nat 20s.
The fact that I showed you all of this, it was the nat 20s. The fact that you know most of the people here, because otherwise half the people on this you wouldn't know. So
yeah.
So I think as dinner kind of winds down, and everyone's looking to one of the households for more information. Who did I say? Fergus. Fergus is the deeper voice one, I think.
Yep.
Fergus goes, well, it's time for us to answer the questions that you might have a little bit more, because we've kind of just promoted this as a problem. So let's talk about it. In this mansion is, to put it bluntly, a treasure. Everyone's eyes start lighting up at this point. It's a treasure. Now, we unfortunately don't know what that treasure is. We've tried to go through and figure out what the secret behind this house is. That's why we got this house in the first place. It's not ours. It's something we purchased from the previous owner who was looking for the treasure themselves, and we were looking for it for a previous amount of time. But ultimately, regardless of what that treasure is, it doesn't matter to us if we have it and gain even more wealth. That's not what we're interested in. We want to solve the question. And I think Bartholomew kind of gives a nod with this. We want to try to solve the question, and we are not smart enough or capable enough or whatever. Us two alone are not able to solve that. So we requested some of the brightest minds in the Outcast region. We've contacted all of you to try to help us. We've got guild members. We've got people that have contributed significantly in research and all sorts of folks to try and help us ask and answer this sort of question. Ultimately, that's all we know. What we've got is that there are a bunch of doors in this house, and we can go share a little bit more about that are locked and unable to be opened. And behind everything, ultimately, there is some secret behind this mansion, some treasure that's hidden at this mansion, and we want to try and solve that. That's why we brought you in. Any specific questions for any of you? This is more for Kyle in particular.
No. Hey, Kyle's just sitting there looking around the room, just does anyone else have any? Kyle's looking around like he doesn't have any questions,
I think Bartholomew pipes up here. So, that's our assistance. And the prize, the reward, the thank you that we'll give, whatever that treasure is, regardless of what it is, we'll give to you if you can solve this. And that's where everybody's eyes really light up. Indy's eyes of adventure, various other Pokemon's eyes of intrigue, your eyes of I have a guess of what this treasure is, but.
Kyle's trying to keep a poker face here. Kyle's just trying to play it nonchalant, just yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Kyle's 10. He has no concept of treasure or money or value.
And I think that's the case there. Now, I'm going to pause at that particular moment and jump to Rose. Rose, dinner is starting. Where are you headed? You have a brief layout of you have an understanding of where everything is in terms of the garden is here and the front desk is here and that sort of thing. Where are you headed?
That's a very good question. Since I don't actually have any blueprints in front of me, I don't know where the best place to look would be, but I guess...
I think from the map that... the map that Pearl built is sort of a good description of this. So, going from south to north, which is from bottom to top, effectively, you walk into what is effectively the driveway. It's a large open space, basically like a front yard, and then you see the house. To the right side of the house is the gardens that you were hanging out at. To the left side of the house is more like a sheer cliff. So it quickly ends off there. The back of the house is like foresty area, and the house itself is constructed that it is, I believe, 3 stories tall, and then there is an attic which you can see a window from. There's presumably a basement as well, but you'd need to go inside the house for that. There's also, I think, in that forest area, shortly before you reach the forest itself, some sort of like storage facility where they presumably held all their like gardening equipment and stuff.
Okay.
That is a brief overview. So there's like the front, there's the dock where all the canoes are. There's the front yard, garden to the right, the house straight in front of you. Very quickly, like maybe as the front yard kind of ends, it kind of goes into a sheer cliff, and then in the back is the forest. In front of the forest is like a pretty decent sized storage facility for gardening stuff.
So I mean, I'd probably start, since I was inside the house already, I'd probably just like start looking around for doors that were either, I don't know, basement or attic. Those seem like places to hide.
Sure. I think the main hall, as you walked on in, so the dining room, I think if you walk into the building, then the dining hall is to your left. I think the main hall itself has like 2 different stairs that go straight up, and then there's like the hallway like that. And then to the right is some sort of like living room sort of situation. And then the back has a bunch of doors as well that you could probably open into. Underneath underneath both of the stairs are doors that presumably lead to a basement of some sort. It's like 2 different doors to the same basement, so they go down 2 different stairs. You want to take a look at those? You want to try to open the door, pick the lock? What exactly?
I mean, if I can go down into the basement, I'll go down into the basement. I'm just trying to find them. So like, if I'm walking around, I'm checking doors. If I come to a locked door, I'm probably going to try somewhere else. I'm just like searching the house, basically. Like
I think
the area.
yeah, sure. I think the basement door is locked.
Okay, then I would move on probably to somewhere else. Go upstairs, look around. I don't know. I don't know if there's a role here of any sort. I'm just trying to like search the house, basically. Trying to find them. I don't have any particular area in mind. I'm just looking for people.
Okay, sure. I think if you were to search the bottom floor of the house, you see all of like there aren't a lot of rooms, and most of them are like bedrooms. And other things like that. You can tell they're bedrooms by like signage. I think some of them say like, Dad's room. What did I name the children? It's like Dad's room, Asil's room, Jebediah's room, playroom. A couple of rooms like that. That's most of the bottom floor. If you head to the next floor, most of those doors are locked and are unable to be opened. They don't have any signage or anything on them. And then if you go to the 3rd floor, same situation. You can see at the end of the 3rd floor hallway on both sides, there is like a trapdoor sort of thing where you could presumably go to the attic. But that, again, has some sort of key where you're unable to open it.
So every single door is locked that isn't like a bedroom?
In the 1st floor, most of those rooms are openable. I don't think unless you want to, I don't think you're going to go barge into everybody's bedroom.
Right. But every other door is locked?
On the 2nd floor, every other door is locked. On the 3rd floor, every other door is locked. And also, these hallways are relatively dusty, as if the mouse holes don't even bother coming up here.
Okay. I mean, then if I find nothing in the house, I'm just gonna keep looking outside. Then I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna just keep looking around until I find something, I guess.
Sure. You head out to front yard, backyard, garden, the cliff.
Yeah, I guess the backyard where there's woods. Sure.
Sure. You head to the backyard. I think you pass by that garden storage location as you head out into the woods itself. It's not like a huge forest or anything. Behind, this is not going to make much sense. Behind my house, where I used to live, behind the house there was like maybe 20 feet of trees before it went to the other neighborhood that was behind us. And I think it's something like that. And if you go behind that 30, 40 feet of trees, then you can see like the edge of the cliff. Which is extends another 20 feet or so.
And I'm assuming if I had tried the shed, it would be locked too.
The shed is opened, and you look inside, and I think you see a lot of gardening equipment.
All right. I mean, I don't know how long it takes me to search. I don't know if the dinner stops, but I'm just searching.
Yeah, I think all of this is happening roughly at the time that the dinner is. So as you're heading back,
because I'm sure it takes me as long as the dinner goes.
Yeah.
If I don't.
So
find
as
anything.
you're heading back, from the forest into back into the house, I presume, or
yeah, I mean,
to one of the sides.
I don't have a specific direction. I'm just searching the house. So
Gotcha.
if people start coming out of the dinner, then basically if Kyle comes to try and find me or something, or Pearl or whatever.
So
There's not
as
like
the
a
dinner
set
is-
time that I'm searching. I'm
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to search
The reason why I mentioned this, as the dinner is winding down, and at this point, Kyle, it's where I'm picking up with your thing. At that exact same moment, Daisy, you hear a voice appear into your head. All it says is, "I believe now it is time for you to save me," and that's where we end the episode.
Interesting.
This whole mouse hole thing's a side quest. Unless.
So, unless. So that is the end of this episode. Next episode, we introduce the actual quest itself, or start the quest itself, whatever that quest may be. Be sure to check into the post-game show immediately after this. Thank you, everyone, for listening, watching, and supporting in any way, shape, or form that you do. And until next time, I've been your PM, your TM, your GM, Andrew himself, realizing I'm using the YouTube outro because I've recorded way too many of those videos.
I've been Muhammad playing Kyle, thinking I would be forgotten.
I've been Daisy. I have a cat in my lap.
And until next time, be sure, as always, to take care.